what goes into the preparation of the gamification experience so that um, it creates the learning? So the danger, I suppose, that could be there for a Gen Z kind of a generation is that I'm having a great time, but have I learned something? And perhaps the biggest question that could be often asked is that, has that diluted my intent of the very first intent of even you doing that? So, can you explain what goes into preparation and how do you ensure that the gamification serves a very distinct purpose, right? It's not thrown away saying we had a good time, which is important, but at the end of that, did we in fact learn something? So maybe just you can tackle those two,
Sure.
please.
Sure. So I actually have a counterpoint of view, having been in the trenches with designing learning experiences every day. I think actually that youngsters are very eager to learn and very eager to grow, right? Like you rightly mentioned. It is that the recognition that when a, a Gen Z was a student, school, college, etc., they went through learning experiences because they had to. Come organization reality, that pressure is not there. So therefore, they will only learn the things they want to. So the process of learning that was employed for teaching them things they have to learn cannot be employed for things that you want them to learn. There has to be an intrinsic motivation. Eccentric motivation will go only so far, right? So the application of gamification for learning in an organization environment has to first be seen in two buckets, Nikhil, right? The first bucket is functional, technical things that I need to learn in order for me to do my job, right? So engineers come with their computer science, engineering, and then come to the organization. Many of them know they are hardly prepared. You look at data all over, they're hardly prepared for the real work. And therefore, depending on which organization you are in, you have to learn proprietary technologies, proprietary platforms. Even if you're a finance guy and you walk into one of the big four or anything, there is tons of things to learn. You're an insurance, you're a BCom graduate, you've joined as an insurance sales guy in ICI, there is tons of things to learn at a product level. And therefore, there is that functional side of it. It could be mandatory things like cybersecurity or customer service steps, etc. Then there is the other side, which is the softer behavioral side. It could be leadership skills, it could be behavioral competencies, values, culture. And we have to clearly demarcate both of them because the application of gamification and game-based learning for Gen Zs is very different for both, right? Now, the mandatory trainings, everybody knows they have to go through it, right? And therefore, the motivation to gamify it is higher because even organization knows that it is in our interest that people absorb these elements very, very well. So if you look at, large organizations, I know guys like Accenture and all do a great job of their cybersecurity course. They have, because bulk of the people they're working with are Gen Zs, youngsters coming into the workforce. Lower half of their pyramid is very, very heavy. So they see the value, they invest good resources in building out games that, this content into a game kind of a format that can appeal to this audience. In terms of how organizations are deploying this and where does the employee think that it is just a game and I've not really gathered anything out of it, is perhaps more in the softer skill side than in the hard skill side. Because hard skill sides, I know I have to learn this if I have to do my job, right? And therefore, I have to consume that content. Gamification has just made it more fun, right? So that superfluousness to that content doesn't happen that much, right? But the challenge is that content, that gamification has to actually be done properly. So the problem is not actually that they are caught up in the game. The challenge actually is a lot of gamification is not done very well. So it actually doesn't challenge the learner. It feels very childish, to put it bluntly. So a lot of the gamification is you sign up, you get 100 points, right? You watch a video, you get 100 points. So that point has no basis. It has no credibility because it's so easily earned, right? And some people who will just log in and they'll watch a video, they'll complete the video, there'll be, fireworks and confetti on your screen, and then it will say you won 350 points and some music will go on, right? The questions will be there, will not challenge the learner, and therefore the learner just walks through all of it, and then everybody is at 2000 points and everybody is gained. Those kind of gamified learning elements are actually what is challenging the learner. It's not the other side, right? So on the content side, the challenge for content creators, the challenge for L&D professionals who are creating content is to recognize that Gen Zs are digital natives. They are constantly playing games. They're used to high-end graphics. They're used to even low-end graphics, but challenging games. They're used to being challenged mentally, right? And you throw something very, very simplistic at them. They feel, in my opinion, they feel that they're being treated as children, right? They're not being treated as adults. So the gamification design is a big area to focus. On the other side, where there are softer skills, organizations are only now, I think, especially in the post-COVID era, recognizing the true value of building these softer skills from day one, rather than letting trial and error take care of it, right? And now the area that we work heavily is in the use of serious games and serious gameplay in the soft skill area. And now we are seeing over time, from working largely with senior management or middle management, now we're doing tons and tons of work with freshers, new joiners. There's a lot of focus on culture immersion, values immersion, doing it in a manner that these guys can really imbibe it. So gamification for Gen Zs has to be looked at from these two lenses. And the challenge is really not today that they're so caught up in the game that the learning is not happening. The challenge really is to create things that actually challenge them.